Thanks for tuning in to Hobbs and Horror Movie Review Podcast.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Hobbs and Horror. I'm Eric.
Porto.
Porto.
Say that again, slower. Porto.
Wait, what? What?
Porto.
We're back with another episode, and this is one of the worst movies ever made, called The Greasy Strangler, coming in at a 5.7 IMDb rating. It's approximately 5.6 points too high on the rating scale, probably. So, Gavin, why don't you kick us off right away with what this piece of shit was about?
Yeah, so we are in some place. I don't know what the place is, some city. And there's an older man and his adult son, and they live together. And we know from the very beginning that there is a greasy strangler. And as the movie unfolds, we find out that the greasy strangler is apparently a guy who covers his entire body grease from a grease vat and goes around and strangles people. So that's part of the story. And then the other part of the story is the adult son meets a girlfriend, but the father apparently is super jealous and tries to make her his girlfriend, with some degree of success.
Yeah, I think she kind of goes back and forth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was the real plot.
That was the real plot.
Yeah.
He did not do another movie
No,
this today.
I didn't do it this time.
Just because he just, I mean, that probably took all you could muster out of you to come up with that bullshit, because this movie, I mean, I'm going to lay it down straight,
I just
man.
love that we forced Eric to watch this shit.
This is only the second movie in my life that I truly feel like I deserve that hour of my time back, because it was awful. It was just awful.
I mean, it's understandable.
So, and the problem here is I'm surrounded by two people that I actually think enjoyed this crap.
I thoroughly enjoyed it. I love movies that make me feel uncomfortable, like, and dirty. And
that's why you love kids.
Yeah. I mean, that Gummo, I think you made a good comparison to Gummo. I think it has a kind of similar feel to it. Also, like John Waters movies, I think it's pretty comparable to that.
Yeah.
Just kind of the weird things thrown in there that don't really have much explanation for it. And yeah.
I saw people online comparing it to Trash Humpers.
Really?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. Which I have not seen, but definitely they're thinking, along the Gummo lines as well.
Yeah.
So what was good about this movie?
Jason, what was good about this movie?
Oh, man. I'm going to let you take that one, Gavin.
Well, so I think for this to be a movie that people enjoy, you have to have a very specific sense of humor.
Yeah.
That I could take, because I felt like they were trying to be funny, but none of it hit with me.
Okay.
None of it resonated whatsoever.
Yeah, like, there's not much of a plot. The acting is good. Like, it's weird, but it's, like, intentionally weird. So, I think they succeeded there. But really, like, if you don't find this whole thing just so strange and, like, just laughably dumb, I don't know if it... And I'm going to throw it to Jason, because the two things that I saw it compared to most were Trash Humpers, which I, again, have not seen.
Yeah, I haven't either.
And Freddy Got Fingered.
What?
Yeah, and they said it's similar in the sense where, like, people who think it's hilarious, but everyone else is like, what the hell is this?
Yeah, and see, I don't understand how people don't think Freddy Got Fingered is hilarious. So I don't even, I like, people shit on that movie all the time, but I don't understand it, because to me, I mean, I don't know. I thought it was, I mean, if you like Tom Green, it's hilarious, but so I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
and they're not the same to me, because this movie, I do think it's funny, and I thought it was funny the first time I watched it, and I think I might even thought it was funnier this time. Freddy Got Fingered, I did not think was funny the first time I saw it. That was a repeat view before I got what he was doing.
Okay.
Because it was so, like, it's so unfunny, but that was the point. Like, that's why it's funny.
Yeah. Well, I mean, half the jokes in that movie aren't even meant for... It's between him and his friends are like inside jokes that he just made because MTV just gave him a whole bunch of money and all he wanted to do was really just jack off a horse.
Yeah, I think like it's that Freddy Got Fingered is funnier now. Like you look back and you're like, and you see what he was doing, and it was like a big experiment. Yeah, but at the time, yeah, it was like, okay, yeah, and I like Tom Green just fine. Like, I mean, I thought his show was good, and then that came, and I was like, what? Yeah.
No, I'm still not hearing anything good about this movie.
Well, hold on. I got one more Freddy Got Fingered thing to say, and then we'll move on to the Greasy Strangler.
Yeah, say one more Freddy Got Fingered.
So, I like, just to give you an idea of how much I love Freddy Got Fingered, is I am actually planning on getting a tattoo of the balloons tied to a bag of baboon eyes that are dripping a sauce with bananas.
That means nothing to me.
There's a picture he draws in it. Like he's in the movie, he's like an animator. He wants to be an animator, so he draws these pictures. But that's part of the story. Is he doesn't have any cohesive story to his pictures, so he can't. No one wants his drawings until he figures out he needs like a story. You know, and so like one of his pictures is just like this balloon with a string attached tied to some bananas and then tied to a bag of baboon eyes that are dripping a sauce. And I want to get that tattooed on my back somewhere.
He was ahead of his time.
I think he was, yeah.
Because the cartoons of the last 10, 15 years are way more bizarre than the ones we grew up with. True. Which is saying something because we grew up with like Ren and Stimpy, but...
Right.
But yeah, so the Greasy Strangler, I first of all, I guess if I'm going to say something negative, and I'm not going to say a lot negative, but if we're watching it as a horror film, it doesn't succeed very well in that way. I mean, there's a few gross out moments like during the kills.
And he does cook somebody's eyes and eat them at one point in time and stuff. So there's an attempt there.
Yeah, there is that, but like it's not really... I mean, it's horror, but it's like the horror is like the supporting genre. It's not the main thing. Yeah. So, you know, whereas even like horror comedies are clearly like set in a horror world, horror landscape. And this one, I don't feel like it is at all.
No, usually when you're watching a horror movie, like if someone's watching a horror movie and you walk into the room, you can tell what kind of movie it is. Like if you sit for like 2 minutes and watch it, you know, the tone of the movie and everything. This one, you can't really even tell that, like, it's a movie about a guy, like, serial killer.
Is that because you wouldn't be able to sit there and watch it for 2 minutes?
Yeah, I mean, man, I totally understand why you hate this movie. Yeah, I get that. But, I don't know. There was a lot of things I liked about this movie. It really... took me back to the days when we used to sit around and watch all this weird shit, you know, like John Waters movies and Gummo and all that type of stuff.
And I don't like John Waters movies.
No?
No.
What about Pink Flamingos? You didn't like that one? No? No. Is it because the drag queen eating poop?
The poop eating doesn't help.
Yeah.
I don't dislike John Waters altogether. I like Polyester a lot. And I think Serial Mom's okay. But generally speaking, I do find it more uncomfortable than entertaining.
Oh, okay. Yeah, it kind of crosses that threshold.
I admire John Waters. I love that he's been able to build an entire, hugely successful career off of what he does.
Yeah.
But I don't actually like it.
Yeah. I just like that it gives me, like, this movie gives me that feeling, though. Like, that, like, dirty feeling while I'm watching it.
Yeah.
Just like kind of like I feel like this is a movie that only a nation in decline could produce.
Wow.
Like a nation that has just like that is like just we're just kind of in decline. Like
giving up. Just
like we've you know, like we're the late stage capitalism like where you know, people are just like jaded by everything and we're just like coming up with this stupid shit now that doesn't even I don't know. But I love it. I'm all here for it.
Yeah.
I don't know.
No, I it's so hard to say like what it really just comes down to the humor. Like if you think of sense of humor, if you think the humor is funny, it'll work, and if you don't, it won't. I mean, Eric, you've sat through it. Like I was laughing through the whole thing, and
I felt like the laughter in the movie was stronger at the beginning.
I'll give you that.
And as it went along, you guys started slowing down with the laughter.
Yeah. I think
I
towards,
100% agree with that.
Yeah. My rating for this started out at a 10. And then kind of it gradually went down as, like, I would say about halfway through the movie, the jokes weren't, and I don't want to even say jokes because there were really no jokes in this movie. It's just like funny because it's funny. Like, but it just kind of petered out.
No,
I think
spot on with that one. Yeah, I'm not gonna say where I started. I was not at a 10. Yeah, but where I started out. But yeah, definitely by maybe like the 2/3 mark, yeah. I was edging down.
You know where they went wrong? They killed off the Indian guy, man.
I mean, that did hurt.
Yeah.
Because that was probably one of the funniest scenes in the movie.
For sure.
So, and that happens in like the first 5 minutes, and the funny characters of that scene, they immediately kill off after that. So yeah, that did not help their cause.
Yeah.
I also think like they kind of revealed everything immediately.
Mm-hmm.
So it was just kind of like you got shocked by the wow of this movie. 10 minutes in, it was all over, and it was just regurgitating the same crap for the rest of the movie. So it just dragged on.
Yeah.
After.
Yeah, that is a thing. Like some of the jokes, and again, like you said, they're not really jokes, but some of the strange moments or whatever, they didn't need to do them 3 or 4 times. Like probably wasn't necessary.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes I thought that worked okay, and other times it was like okay, like even him going through the car wash. Like I think it's funny, but I didn't need to see him do it every time.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, but some of the dynamic between him and the blind guy at the car wash was pretty hardy.
I could have seen him talking to that guy, to Big Paul, but I didn't need to see him getting slapped by the car wash
every time.
Yeah.
And his big dong.
Yeah.
Definitely that he was uncircumcised, right? I mean, it was a very weird looking dick. I don't even know if that was a real dick.
I'm pretty sure that's not a real dick.
I don't think so either.
Maybe not, but man, it was a strange looking dick.
If it was a real dick, I feel really
in
bad
the bush.
For him. Yeah.
I mean,
it starts above his belly.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it goes high. Like that bush is like.
So this is why Jason enjoyed this movie, because he was just sitting there trying to figure out the guy's dick the whole time. Yeah. And that's the other thing is that none of these people, these are all large men that walk around in bikini underwear for 90% of the movie or completely naked. And so that might also be another driving force of why it was just a massive turnoff to me.
Oh no, actually I thought that was a strength. Yeah, and again, I'm kind of like, I'm cash. I didn't look at a lot of like reviews and comments. I looked at a few, and that was the thing. Like somebody was like, they were concerned that the characters' bodies were being used as a punchline, and I didn't feel that way at all.
They weren't like their bodies weren't anything abnormal.
I mean. The guy's dick.
Guy's
like,
old.
Like it's there. I mean, it's funny to walk around in like the little underwear. So like, yeah, that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't think like the joke was like, hey, look at these large people.
Oh, yeah.
It's not an Eddie Murphy movie. I just thought like they were making it like normal, and I was like, good on them. The sex scenes, like they weren't necessarily sexy.
Mm-mm.
But they weren't gross. They weren't like using it as like oh, look at fat people doing it. No, it was like, this is just normal people.
Is that what they were, the people online you were talking about? Like, is that what they were focused on, is that they were fat? Because the only fat person in this movie was the one woman that was kind of between the two, the father and son. And I don't think that they really, like, she wasn't naked all the time. Or she wasn't walking around in her underwear all the time. It was just the two guys.
Maybe fat isn't the right term, but they are people that you don't expect to see naked in a movie.
Yeah.
They had body builds. They weren't disgustingly fat by any means or anything, but they are not people you expect to see.
The guy who played the Greasy Strangler was a strange looking son of a bitch.
And and if I had to give one compliment to this movie is that now this does not save this movie at all. But
I love you always have to have a caveat to it.
Yeah.
Like,
I want to make it very clear to everybody that this is a terrible movie.
yes.
But that guy did do an outstanding job in his role.
Yeah.
As weird as it was, I mean, you couldn't have asked him to do that better than he did it.
Yeah.
No,
and they couldn't have cast it any better.
I thought the casting was spot on.
Yeah.
The three main characters were great. Their line delivery was great. Their look was great. I don't know how, as a director, you tell people what you want them to do when that's what you want them to do. Like, that's a weird thing to do. Be like, here's how you have to approach this scene and how I want you to say your lines. Like, how do you tell that? I don't know, but I thought they did it really well. But no, like the body thing, I think people got the impression that, like, we were supposed to be making fun of these people because of the way they looked. And I didn't really feel that way about it at all. I just felt like we used normal people. And I thought that was cool. And, like, I don't think that it was supposed to be, we think that's funny.
Mm-hmm.
Like, whereas when we watched Terra Firma,
right,
and that guy's not even like that fat, but the bigger the bigger guy running naked,
Joe Fleischman,
running naked through Times Square, like,
oh, that's a different fat
yeah, no, not him,
no, not the escalator,
but like the guy running naked through Times Square, like, I think part of that being funny is because he's a bigger guy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think, like, that was somewhat intentional.
Yeah.
You know, like a hot naked dude running through Times Square is not as funny.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't feel like that they were used that way in this movie.
I think it was more meant to show how disgusting they were. Like, because they're like, you know, you see their underwear and it's all stained. And, like, they're just, you know, you see, like, you know, I'm waking up in bed and you look at the walls behind his bed and in his house, and you can tell they're just disgusting people.
Yeah.
And I think that's, you know, and a disgusting person is going to sit around in their underwear.
And I think
What's
they were
wrong with that?
I mean, there's nothing wrong with it.
They were really going for a strong feel of, like, just weird.
Yeah.
And I think that added to the weird element of it. Because, again, this is not something you expect to see in a movie.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah. I do wish, though, that I kind of wish that they would have had a more cohesive plot.
Yeah.
Because, like, I tend to, as I get older, kind of shy away from movies that are weird for the sake of being weird.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like movies that are just like, all right, we're going to make this movie that no one's going to understand. And, but then they're like, it's like there's certain people that'll watch them and, you know, they like feel like they're smart because they get it or they you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's just, there is a plot. It's just no one understands it, or, you know, and I just feel like
dude's crapping on David Lynch now.
You know where I'm going. Yeah. I have a hard time with David Lynch because I just don't think half his movies make any fucking sense. Yeah. And I don't think he even, you know, I think he puts things in his movies just to, like, oh, what if we have a midget talking backwards now? Like, maybe that, you know. And I just, it bothers me. But if it's entertaining enough, and this movie to me was entertaining enough, like, it had laughs, it kept my interest for the most part. I mean, like I said, towards the middle and the end, except for when they watched themselves getting shot and then their heads blew off and confetti flew out.
You were literally like,
then I was like, oh, okay, I'm back. What the fuck is going on?
No clue what's going on in that scene.
Yeah, but that's a perfect example though, where I'm like, what is this supposed to be? Like,
and I just feel like stuff like that. They just wanted to put a scene in it. The creators had like a vision of this scene, and even though it didn't make any sense, they're like, no, we're gonna do this scene because it's gonna be cool, you know. And it's like,
I'm gonna agree with Jay. I'm gonna jump off a little bit from what you're saying, but I agree with you. And before I do that, I want to point out, I feel like Eric is slowly winning this conversation.
Yeah,
because we are being more critical than
Yeah.
he's being positive. So I feel
Yeah.
like he's winning this.
Yeah.
But your thing about like there being a plot and a story and stuff, like I agree with that. I think that would have helped. The story appeared to be the father is the Greasy Strangler.
Right.
The son is slowly realizing that. And so, like, you think where the story could go is he meets a girl, the girl gives him a new sense of, like, self-confidence, and he's able to escape his father and defeat the Greasy Strangler. Like, that's a plot that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
But that doesn't happen. Like, instead, when it's kind of going that way, then it stops. And, like, in the last 10, 15 minutes, it shifts into like a father-son bonding movie.
Yeah.
And there was no indication of that ever coming.
Right.
And that to me is not great.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I know the movie's supposed to be weird and it's supposed to be funny, but there wasn't even like hints of that. Like it just is like a complete shift in what's going on in the movie.
Right. If it wasn't for the uncomfortable humor that I really enjoy, like if there was even just slightly less humor, I may not have even given a shit about this movie.
Yeah.
But I really do like that type of like awkward and the feeling dirty kind of.
Yeah. But I wish there would have been some kind of like hints along the way where father and son don't necessarily get along, but there's potential there. Girlfriend comes along, girlfriend comes between them. Instead of the son going off with the girlfriend and starting a new life, father and son decide to get rid of the girlfriend and then reaffirm their family commitment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and like this happened. Like I'm really reading way more into it than what's there, but you know, like this happened where instead of fighting over it, they decide to just get rid of her.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's nothing in the movie that like suggests that's the plot or where things are going.
I think you're onto something, Gavin. I think like there kind of was a plot there, but they just failed so miserably. Because think about it, if you would have been like, "Holy shit!" when you realized that they were going to kill the girlfriend off and do the bonding thing,
Yeah.
If that would have been like a shock to you, and would have been like a turning point in the movie where you would have been like, "Holy fuck, I didn't see that coming," that would have made this movie great.
It wasn't a shock.
It wasn't,
but it also wasn't expected. It was just happened.
Yeah,
right,
that's-
exactly.
It had
And that's-
no purpose at all.
Right, and that's the point. Is like it doesn't it like all the random stuff in this movie would have served the audience better if it wasn't random.
Mm-hmm.
Like if there was a plot that kind of explained that they kind of gave you a hint as to why they're walking around doing, you know what I mean, in their underwear, acting weird and like, but it just seemed like a lot of what was in this movie was random, this random weirdness. Yeah. And when there's no basis for it, I feel like that's kind of cheap. Yeah. It's like lazy.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to shit on it too much because I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It's going to get a good rating for me. Especially since, you know, we don't see movies like this come along. It's
still going to get a good rating from me, too. Although now, after this conversation, listeners are going to be more confused. It's like, like, how do you give it that good of a rating after the crapping on it?
We don't see movies like this too often, either. Like, this isn't a movie that comes around, like every year. Like, when was the last time you saw a movie that was, like, strange in this kind of a way? Like...
I hope I never see one.
I know. Well, Gummo, because you.
Yeah.
I honestly don't remember Gummo, but I'm sure that there's a lot more of this same thing.
Gummo is a great example though, because Gummo did have a plot. Like it may have seemed to a lot of people like it didn't, but it was about like a city where like I think like a tornado had gone through, and everybody was just kind of living in poverty. Like it had destroyed everything. And so it was just like this kind of city that was like kind of decaying.
Yeah. Stay tuned next week for Gummo.
Yeah. Well, and maybe Gummo suffers from the same thing as this movie does, where it did have a plot, but it didn't put it out enough for the average person. Maybe the people that enjoy Gummo are the ones that can see that plot.
Yeah.
But most people just miss it completely when they watch a movie, and it's just
I
a piece of
agree.
shit.
I enjoy Gummo. I don't even care if it has a plot.
Yeah. Right?
But I think a lot
I just
of
want to
it,
see him eating spaghetti in the tub, man.
but I think a huge part of that is that both of you have a very, very out there sense of humor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I have a much more normal sense of humor, and I think that's the biggest driver of why you could take something from this movie, and I'm just like, the God. I was sitting there thinking, oh my God, could this just effing end?
Yeah.
Like, and it was what, an hour and a half movie?
Yeah.
It took I probably gave up on it around 25 minutes in, and I'm like, yeah, I just don't need this in my life, man.
I think part of why I gravitate, or like, I don't want to say, I mean, I gravitate towards movies like this, but I think why I tend to give them more credit than maybe I should is because that humor, you don't see it very much,
Right?
And
you like it,
and I love it.
You like
so
it.
like even if there's a kernel of it,
yep,
I'm gonna be like, yes, this movie's the best.
Yep, and I think that's probably a huge point of it. And what somebody needs to do is come out and make a legit good movie with that humor in it.
Yeah,
and I think it would blow your socks off. Maybe
I think
Freddie
did do that.
Maybe that's what Freddie Got Fingered is.
No, that's what Napoleon Dynamite is.
Yeah, Napoleon Dynamite. I love that movie.
Yeah.
So
I mean, a lot of people ruined it because
Napoleon Dynamite is the same nonsense humor, but
Yeah.
the movie's actually really well done.
Yeah, as also Gentleman Bronco, same director, which you have not seen. Yeah, you own it now. So, but I actually, you know what? Wait on that because we will watch it at my house together when I move in.
Okay.
And we'll save that for like I bought a house, everybody.
I wouldn't. I honestly, to be honest with you, I would not mind doing Napoleon Dynamite. I know it's not a horror movie or anything on this.
Well, you're coming to Gentleman Broncos too
on this podcast.
Yeah,
because
I can't even make the case for Napoleon Dynamite being a horror movie. Like,
No.
You can push it sometimes, but that one I can't.
Yeah, well, we won't even push it, but I think we should do that because that is a movie that I remember watching when I was younger and thinking is terrible, and I would be interested to see if I could watch it again now and take something.
I think you'd be able to take something a little more from it.
So,
but I think you'd probably just be like, "This is stupid," but you'd be like, "But I can see why other people like it."
So. I don't know. Do you guys want to talk about this piece of shit anymore, or do you want to do ratings? But just so you know, you have. I'm speaking for all the listeners of this podcast. You have done nothing to convince any of them that.
Let's try. Let's try to convince people.
Well, I don't really have a whole lot I want to add, but I do think it would be a huge mistake if I didn't mention Elijah Wood.
Yeah, go ahead. Yes.
Yeah, as I was saying earlier off the air, like Elijah Wood, I don't know what that dude's deal is, but he has gone from being child actor, Hobbit, and now he like stars in and produces these like indie horror films, and like they didn't really like heavily advertise his name. But he was the producer of Greasy Strangler.
Yeah.
And like that's so weird to have his name attached to this thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, shout out to Elijah Wood. Like, and dude loves his horror films. Like there was a documentary on Psycho, on just the shower scene in Psycho. I don't know if people have seen it.
You mean the shower scene in Psycho or the documentary?
The documentary.
Okay.
The documentary. And it's like, and it's really, I forget what it's called. It's like, it's got a number for its name. It's like 7254. It's like a weird name. But basically, it's like 90-minute documentary about a 60-second movie scene.
Huh.
And Elijah Wood is like interviewed thoroughly. Like he's sitting on the couch and like, dude knows his stuff.
Really?
Like he is very passionate about the history of horror. And
I really liked Come to Daddy.
Yeah,
that was I really enjoyed it. And that one had that similar sense of humor that I enjoy, that awkward kind of you just feel awkward when you're
watching it.
Yeah, but it was great. Like, I would highly recommend that one too.
Yeah.
Do you
And the remake of Maniac.
And there's a lot of scalping going on in that movie. Holy shit.
Yeah.
do you
Pretty
feel
brutal.
when you watch these movies, since you know that this humor is weird and out there and not a lot of people like it, does it make you awkward to watch it with other people?
Sometimes. Like if
Gavin?
yes,
Yeah.
actually, because I tried to watch this with Erin and she didn't even like say turn it off or anything. Like she was watching it and I'm like, I'm sorry, we're going to turn this off. We'll watch something else. Literally, that's when the only time I tried to watch this movie was with Erin. I was over at her house and we were having some drinks and we were going to watch it because her friend really likes this movie. And I had wanted to see it anyway. So I was like, yeah, let's put it in. And then maybe like 15 minutes in, I was like, you're not liking this. I'm taking notes. She's like, I didn't say I wasn't liking it. I'm like, we'll watch something else. Like, it's just because like, I feel like if I'm watching a movie like this around the wrong person, I'm being judged.
No, I think that's totally normal. I mean, in certain groups, you know what movies are going to play. But no, definitely. I mean, and you're referring to your girlfriend.
Yeah.
And like, absolutely, like, anytime you're like in a relationship, like when it's relatively new, you know, after a few years, whatever, maybe.
Right.
But for the first like 6 months to a year,
Yeah.
you got to ease them in.
Yeah.
You got to ease them in
Yeah.
because they might be like completely on board,
Yeah.
or they might like in the back of their mind being like,
Completely
what the
mortified.
fuck is up with this?
Yeah.
And they're gonna judge you. Maybe they won't. Maybe they won't judge you.
Yeah.
But you feel like they're gonna judge you.
Right. Because I mean, how do I defend myself?
Right.
What do I say? Like, I mean, even on this podcast, I have a hard time explaining why I like this movie.
Yeah.
It's really tough when you have a movie that's so, like, the humor and everything is so obscure, kind of. Like, it's
Yeah.
hard to pinpoint it. It's hard to
And
nail
it's
down.
not fair.
No, it's not. And it's hard to nail it down and be like, this is what I like about this movie.
It's not fair. If you go on a date and you say, "Hey, we're gonna watch the Greasy Strangler," right?
Yeah.
Which
Is said. It's said all the time.
right.
Yeah.
But if you do that, and then the person you're going on the date with is like, "Yeah, I don't want to go on another date with you," like that's
Yeah.
crap. Because if you go on a date and you're like, "Hey, you want to watch this new Hallmark Christmas movie?"
Yeah, like A Dog Named Christmas or something.
Yeah, and you're
Yeah.
watching it, and they're like, "This is the greatest movie," and you're sitting there and you're like, "Oh gosh, can I spend the rest of my life with this person?"
Yeah.
You just got to swallow that.
Yeah.
You just got to
Yeah.
take it.
That's true.
So it's a one-way thing. Like if you like the weird stuff, you got to be like, okay, how much can I show them?
Yeah.
But if you like the crappy Hallmark movies, you get a pass. Like you can't get judged for that.
Right. Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, I slowly.
Eric loves crappy Hallmark movies.
I don't love crappy Hallmark movies, but
you-
I'll take a crappy Hallmark movie over this piece of shit. So
I did the same thing with dating, though. I did the same thing with memes. I'd start out real tame.
Yeah.
I'd send them something, and then I'd test the waters a little bit. Maybe a 9/11 meme, or like maybe something that's not overly like like I'm gonna call the cops on the but you have to work up to it. You don't just throw down some like the
I don't even want to know where you're going.
well I was thinking Squirt Russell.
Okay.
You know Squirt Russell, right?
I don't know if I want to know.
No, I don't.
It is like the coolest picture ever. Someone drew a picture of Kurt Russell, right? But he has a vagina, and he's squirting, and he's wearing high heels, and he's got a squirt gun, like a super soaker in his hands,
Uh-huh.
and he's just sitting there with his legs up in the air. It's like, and it just says Squirt Russell on above it, and like it's my favorite thing the internet has ever given me. But I don't know.
Wow.
I don't know why. I just that one image is everything to me about the internet, like
Yeah.
that. So. But that's not something you send to a date. You wait.
Or is it?
Or is it? Maybe
It
maybe
could
you should
Save
try.
you a lot of time.
It would save you a lot of fucking time. That's true. if you just open with that and you're like, all right, hold on, let me get something for you here. And you just send them Squirt Russell right away, you'll know.
Oh. Is this somebody I can spend the rest of my life with?
That would actually work really well on a speed dating scenario.
Yeah.
You know, you just show up with
what do you feel about this?
You could print it out. You could print it out, and when you sit down, you just put it on the table. And if they get up and walk off, you go to the next one and the next one. And the first person to laugh, that's the one.
I challenge Gavin to test this theory.
No.
Get involved in speed dating, and we want to see how this works.
Yeah. But you guys are both going to see Squirt Russell after we trim this off.
I like the idea, except I don't know that I want to be the one associated with Squirt Russell.
All right,
beautiful.
So let's hit ratings on this because I'm going to start this out.
You're gonna, okay, go ahead.
So my rating for this piece of shit is going to be a 0.95.
Ooh,
okay.
Wait, what did you give a 0.34 to?
I don't know, but
you've been in the 0.0 whatever. Like for the last few movies, I think.
No, dude, I've been really high in them.
Okay, there was a few that you were really high, but I swear to God, there was something that was 0.34.
Oh, there was another movie that I went under one.
What was it?
I don't remember. I don't think it was.
But it was
Quigley.
very specific, like 0.34, and now you're going 0.95. All right.
So I'm giving this a 0.95. I don't think for the average person, you have to be a very special individual to be able to get through this.
Yeah.
Like if you can get through this movie and not hate it, you are in the minority of people.
You have to have some very special needs,
yes, or desires, or whatever you want to call it. But this movie, there is nothing. I mean, from my perspective, there was really nothing good about it, except for maybe like the guy. Like I said, the guy did a good job in the main role. But other than that, I mean, if I never hear, or anything about this movie again, I will be the happiest man in the world because it was just awful.
I like the movie. I don't know. I'm gonna
give
it.
But next week, Jason's gonna come with a Porto shirt on. So
yeah.
I would have gone 0.96. I'll see your 0.95 to 0.96.
So I'll go next because I want to see if Gavin is anywhere close to mine.
I don't think I'm going to be as high as you on this one.
I don't think you are either. I think you are, actually. I think you're, because I don't think I'm going to go as high as I was originally.
Okay, we'll see.
I'm going to go like a 6.5.
Oh, shit.
So that isn't as high. I mean, so that's like fair for you in it.
Yeah.
In this
I think that's it. Like with this movie, you know, it has quite a few flaws, but I think overall, you know, it was a fun movie to watch with the right people.
Right.
And you won, Eric.
Well,
you started off as a 10 and you got down to 6.5.
Well, honestly, the movie dragged itself down as it played out.
Yeah.
I think the movie started out as a 10, in my opinion. If it could have kept that first 15 minutes, if it could have kept that going, like, would have easily been a 10 for me. But I think, you know, it just kind of, the jokes started to get spread out longer and longer, and it was just kind of...
And I just really don't feel like there was that much humor after that opening.
Right.
The opening was kind of hey, we're going to hit you with a whole bunch of humor, and then we're just going to make a boring-ass movie after that.
Yeah.
Or maybe the humor after that was there. Mm-hmm. It's just that's the only humor that resonated with me at all.
You don't think there was humor later in the movie?
Not.
I mean, when he's talking about
that's
his
walrus shit.
When he's I loved every scene when he's like, "Yeah, you're a bullshit artist, Eric."
See, but again, you know what?
Bullshit artist.
That was good.
Yeah,
but it was way overdone throughout.
See,
the movie,
I didn't mind that.
I got sick of it.
They definitely know that if you do something. And like you've explained this before, Gavin, with like movies like where they'll do something over and over and over again, and it's funny, and then it's not, and then they keep going, and then it becomes funny again.
Yeah.
And they did that quite a few, like they were definitely aware of that in this movie. They did that quite a few times, but it didn't always work.
Yeah, see, and I didn't think I don't think
it didn't
anything
always
they
work, but I never got sick of them saying bullshit.
Yeah, the bullshit
see,
artist
and-
thing was great.
Yeah.
The Hootie Tootie Disco Cutie.
that
thing,
went too long.
That went too long.
Yeah,
That to me, I was just like, okay, stop. Just
Yeah,
shut the fuck up.
yeah, yeah. That was not successful.
Yeah, and that's why, my rating came down, is because there were certain things that just missed the mark for me, and then other things that really did. But Gavin, what's
Now
your...
I want to lower my rating.
You can
Oh,
do what
so
you
he's
want.
got a higher rating than you. I'm
Once it's
thinking.
spoken, it's, once you speak it, it's there. So.
Okay, well, so starting out in the beginning of the movie, I didn't start at a 10. I started at an 8.
Mm-hmm.
And it was creeping downward, and I thought I was being generous, and it was ending at a 7.5.
Holy shit.
Wow.
But now I'm wondering if I didn't creep down enough, because apparently I'm way higher than you are.
Well, I look at the movies you've given a 7,
Yeah.
and you've given a few really good movies a 7.
Yeah.
I feel like this doesn't belong there.
No, but it's weird, because if somebody was like, give me a list of the great horror films, like, top however many horror films, this is not going to make that list.
No.
But it's also not a horror film.
Right.
But then the weird thing is like, is it really a comedy either? Because if somebody asks for a comedy, like, this isn't what I'm thinking when they're asking for a comedy.
So where does this movie fall?
I don't know, and I think that's the problem. Like, I'm rating it high because I have nothing to compare it to.
Mm.
Like, if I could say, like, yeah, it was good, but here's like 20 other things that are better, I can't do that, because what am I comparing it to? I'm comparing it to Gummo?
Right.
Right. Like, I mean, if that's what it is, if it's a genre of 2 movies, this and Gummo, it's a pretty good movie.
Well, another way of phrasing that, though, is like, you're giving it a high rating because there's nothing like it.
Right, exactly.
And that's, like, just the fact that they can make something that is not, like, you can't compare it to other things very easily, means they did something right.
Yes.
And if anything, it was a ballsy move.
Yeah,
They tried something that
that
other people aren't willing to try or have never thought to try. So
Yeah.
do you give them a better score for that?
I think I am going high because of its uniqueness, and for most of it does lose it in the end, but for most of it is pretty funny to me.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. It's just here's another thing like that I'll give higher ratings for, and actually this is Jason's 37 Dicks thing.
Yep.
This is a movie that's going to stick with me. Like, of all the movies we watch on this podcast, half of them I'm not going to remember, a year later.
Yeah.
This one, I'm still probably going to say some of the stupid crap they say.
Okay, I can give you that. Yeah, I could see.
And that's worth something.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. That's true. That is true. You're
oh,
talking...
God, now
God damn it.
Jason's coming back up.
I'm changing mine to a 6.8. I'm not going higher than a 6.8.
Okay, so I don't want to go lower, even though now I feel really dirty about it. But I'll go down to a 7.45.
What about
Are you sure?
7.45673?
217893.
7.45.
Yeah. I'm going 6.
I can't go. I can't go from a 7.5 to a 7.4.
Yeah.
That's just too much. 7.45.
There you go.
I got one more question for you guys before we wrap this up, and I'm thinking nobody has mentioned this because we're not trying not to spoil a movie, but I'm going to spoil the movie.
I don't think it matters at this point.
So at the end of the movie, the father and son both become greasy stranglers. Essentially. Okay, so what were your thoughts
and they
on
kill
that
Ricky
ending?
Prickles.
What were your thoughts on that ending? Did you think that was a good ending? Do you think it was sucked? I mean,
I don't think it really hurt the movie because the whole movie kind of was just nonsense. I mean, a lot of what was going on was just kind of, it seemed random, but at the same time, it wasn't fulfilling either.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it really, that's where I kind of wish that there would have been more of a cohesive plot a little bit, so that we maybe could be, like at the end would have made more sense and kind of left you feeling like you...
So you kind of feel like the ending of the movie isn't really relevant because basically the plot of the movie didn't matter.
Yeah.
It was just the content, the humor and stuff within the movie that made it
kind
what
of.
it was.
Yeah.
So what they did in the end didn't really...
What do you think?
I think what you're saying is the same as I feel. Like, saying that the end wasn't fulfilling, I think is a great way to phrase it. I was going to say the ending was flat.
Yeah.
And just because I don't think the idea is bad. I think the idea of the son coming around, understanding the joys of being a greasy strangler, like, I think that's fine. But I don't think they sold it.
They didn't sell it, and they didn't really give a compelling reason either.
Yeah.
What made him turn that way, unless I wasn't paying attention at that point.
I don't think it was you. I think it was the movie.
Yeah.
And yeah, so like, I don't think it's a bad plot idea to have him follow his father.
But it just
but they
wasn't delivered.
didn't do it. Like, it didn't. Which is weird. I guess I know when the movie's a nonsense movie to say they didn't explain it is kind of a stupid argument, but they didn't. They didn't explain it.
Yeah.
And I think probably that is one of the biggest hangups with this movie for me, is that I didn't find the humor that great. And then in the end, there was really no story here. There was nothing for me to get excited about.
I kept thinking, like, is this like an allegory, if that's the right word, Gavin?
Okay.
I don't know. Like,
sure.
where like, this is supposed to represent, like, the father-son relationship, like, of the son growing up and kind of rebelling. Like, I don't know. I was looking for some meaning.
Yeah,
and I think they could have done that, but I don't think they did do that.
Right. I kept looking, but and trying to analyze it, and it just didn't. I couldn't figure it out.
I'm going to be honest with you, that right there, while it sounds really, really clever, it also sounds like a lot of the theories of what the Lost Highway is about that I've read online, and I'm like, this is a really good theory.
Yeah.
But let's just face it, David Lynch is just batshit crazy.
Right.
I mean,
right.
Like, he didn't have a plan.
You don't think Lost Highway makes sense?
No, I don't.
That's the shame. I would, and I'm not saying that I think Lost Highway makes sense either, but I do think it makes more sense than most of his movies.
I don't know. I haven't watched them.
So,
I mean, I watched Eraserhead.
Oh, but that movie makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, that one actually does. It's about, like, having a baby.
And by the way,
Blue Velvet makes
Jason
sense.
is a liar because he has watched every David Lynch movie.
Not everyone.
I'm pretty sure I've watched them all with
really?
you.
Blue Velvet, yeah.
I watched Blue Velvet with you. I'm pretty sure I've watched Lost Highway with you.
Yeah, but I haven't seen Lost Highway since I was
Blue Velvet.
Probably
by
with you.
the way, that's one of those movies again where, like, when you're starting a new relationship, yeah. You got to time it right.
Yeah,
because a lot of women love that movie.
Yeah,
but I could see a lot of women not liking that movie.
Yeah, well, and even if you are a woman who does like that movie, like, if his like gonna take you on a date and his first like thought is like, let's watch Blue Velvet.
Yeah,
you might be like, wait a minute, like why would you
guy?
think, like, I do like this movie, but why would you think that would be like what?
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm not a huge Blue Velvet fan, for the record. Like, I mean, I like it fine, but it makes me more uncomfortable than enjoying it. So I'm not gonna defend that movie.
I haven't seen it since, like, forever.
Yeah.
I had it on VHS.
It may be my least favorite David Lynch movie.
Really?
Yeah, possibly.
What's your favorite David Lynch movie?
Favorite David Lynch movie? That's a tough call. I mean, if I'm allowed to count Twin Peaks Fire Walk with Me, then it would be that.
Well, okay, I'll go with that.
But if I can't count that, Lost Highway is a special place in my heart because it was, the year, it was like late 90s, so it was like our peak years.
Mm-hmm.
So it timed out right. I think The Straight Story is underrated. I think Dune is underrated. Elephant Man is fantastic, but you can't even tell that's David Lynch because it's like normal.
I like that. You can't tell because it's normal.
Yeah.
And just so you know, maybe you've peaked back then. I haven't even begun to peak.
Whoa! No, I'm not.
Wait until I'm shooting
No.
the cum ropes.
If I said peaked, that was I misspoke. What I mean is that the movies you see in your teen years resonate with you
more.
deeper than same as music.
Yeah.
You know, than movies you'll see at another point in your life.
Yeah, that is true.
And you know,
Sure.
I mean, Lost Highway was going to have a place in all of our hearts because Nine Inch Nails did the soundtrack. Marilyn Manson was in the movie,
Yeah.
so I mean, that's going to play a role in it.
I wouldn't mind watching that again one of these days.
Yeah.
Maybe that's one we'll do on this podcast, and then I can tell you all the things I've read about trying to make
Oh yeah,
sense of this
I remember
movie.
you were really deep into that.
Yeah,
You were
I
going-
went on some rabbit hole.
You went
deepest-
online
yeah.
to look it up back when it was like
And did it-
AOL
Did
days.
it make sense?
Some of this stuff they made sense.
You
but,
were determined to know what the fuck that movie was about.
but when I reflect back on it now, I'm like, while I believe that what these people dreamed up as what Lost Highway was about was very clever, I don't think that's what David Lynch had in mind with the
Okay.
movie. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like they were thinking really long and hard about what it could be, but it was
Yeah.
if David Lynch read this shit, he would be like, "Wow,
I'm not gonna.
That's
I'm not
really
gonna say
impressive.
anything. I'm gonna stay quiet from here on out.
Yeah.
Otherwise, we're gonna record another half hour of just talking about Lost Highway. So I'm just not gonna do it.
All right.
So
Let's get off here so I can show you Squirt Russell.
yeah, with that, we do have to figure out what the next movie is. So does anybody know what?
Who's picked?
turn?
I'm off the hook, so I don't
Oh
know.
shit.
Jason doesn't know, so it's
If
probably
we can find Monster Man, I would pick that.
Monster Man.
Monster Man.
Yeah.
So as long as Monster Man is streaming,
It's not.
you've already looked at up for it?
No, I mean if we can find it somehow.
Okay.
Otherwise,
It might be on YouTube. We might find
could-
it on
yeah.
YouTube. So we will research that, but if not, we'll have a surprise movie for everybody for the next time. So with that, we'll wrap this episode up. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We'll see you in 2
Porta.
weeks.
Porta.
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 Thanks for tuning in to Hobbs and Horror Movie Review Podcast. Join us in 2 weeks for another exciting movie review.